Welcome back to MOMnation Unscripted. Now, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, I am Kelly with Realty, and it is our mission to get toxin-free products into every home and more money into more people's pockets. 8 years ago, we were moms who couldn't stop sharing education on real food, gut health, and fermenting. Over the years, we started paying attention to not only what we put in our bodies, but also what we put on our bodies. Now, as movement makers, we are on a mission to show you how you and your family can live a toxin-free lifestyle. Follow us on Instagram at kelly.liston and at Tamara Manley, and email us at olartyblog@gmail.com to connect.
Katie, we have been waiting for this episode for months now. Because, oh my goodness, I'm so freaking excited for this one.
Me too, because I think this comes up in absolutely every conversation we have online and offline.
Right? I know. We talk about this all the freaking time. So I'm really excited for this one. But before we get into that, how was your week? How are your past 2 weeks?
Woo, that's right. We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. I should be asking you first, how was your week? But we'll go with me first. You know how I don't mind talking and stuff. So it's been very busy. We have been I'm a busy person. Normally, if I'm not busy, I'm going to create busy. So I have no problem with that. But this right? But this has been extra crazy. I'm sleeping 3 hours a night, kind of crazy busy. So real estate market is off the hook, in case anybody in Arizona was wondering that. Trust me, it is. So I've basically been, eating and sleeping real estate. Although over the holiday weekend, I did make it out of town for a hot minute. And I mean a hot minute, half of a day. It was good. It was good. Get out into nature a little bit. I always toggle between, am I anxious that I don't have service right now, or am I stoked and really grateful that I don't have service right now?
Yeah.
To kind of give myself, because we're all human, some of us are a little bit more like robots than others. That would be me, but I'm still a human inside here, and it still needs rest.
Somewhere in there. Yes.
So I've been working like a dog, but I managed to have a little bit of fun with the family too. How about you?
Love it. So, last week I had Magnetic Brand Camp. And so we had 12 hours of live classes and training, and it was amazing and emotional and all the amazing things that happen when you do some sort of a big experience like that. And so, just like I was on a sales call for the magnetic branding method after brand camp, and somebody was just talking about how liberating it's been for her to have gone through magnetic brand camp and come out and believe that she is worthy and good enough and amazing enough to build a personal brand. And girl, I had to do everything I could to just not just start bawling, right? I just had all of the weight from everybody that I had been working with for the past days and everything that they said, and it all just hit me at once, and it was just this such a huge emotion, and so it's a very, very good thing. I've been working really hard on this in the past when I've been launching and selling in my business. I stressed myself out to the point that I got hives, and I made myself sick, and I had seizures and all sorts of things. And so this time I'm screw it. If 7 people buy, those are the 7 people who are meant to buy. And I just, I'll nurture the hell out of those 7 people. And there's more than 7 people buying. I'll say that. But I've just been this morning I played with my daughter instead of waking up and writing content. I woke up and I played with my daughter, and it's going to work out. However it works out, it's going to work out. So it's been a very different week than the past several years in my business, in the best way possible. So.
Oh, yay. Big hearts. I love hearing that. And something that you said kind of struck a bit of a chord with me, because this is something I don't really understand it. I don't understand, and I run into it all of the time too, but how there is a human on this planet that doesn't feel worthy. or you know what I mean? That doesn't feel like they're good enough to be something, to be everything that they want. For any human to be on this planet, like, you have to understand, I'm going to get real scientific here. Okay. There's like all these little swimmies and there's just one egg. And for the swimmies to hit that one egg, like, there's billions, right? That in and of itself.
Your odds are like 1 in 400 trillion or something, according to Gary Vee. So, we're going to just say that, cited.
We're going to say he's right. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. But the odds that you are even here, like, I'm getting the chills absolutely everywhere. The odds that you are even here is so worthy and so freaking special. Like, I just explain that to me, Beth. Maybe this is another conversation for another time or another show, but why do people feel that way? Like, everybody is special.
Yeah. And I think that it honestly comes down to like childhood programming, and it comes down to like, who are you taught and told and trained that you are capable of being? Were you trained and taught that you were like part of a tiny hole in your entire existence? The whole point of your existence is to, blend in. And I don't believe that that's the case personally. I remember being taught a concept when I was a kid, when I was a teen or something, about how the thing that makes bread work is having that grain ground down so that it can just mix and blend with the rest of the grain. Like, if that grain stands independent, then it doesn't make good bread. And we exist to make good bread, not to be individual grains. And like, that's heartbreaking to me. That like, that's the philosophy I was raised with, was like, you're made to serve this purpose. You aren't made to be you or to stand independent or bring something unique to the table. So, but holy cow, I have no doubt that our guest today is going to have amazing insight on this. So I've been following Jen on Instagram for several months. We were in a program or something together, and so my friend Eddie Smith, that I told you about, Eddie, Instagram Eddie, Katie. So Eddie has talked about Jen for quite some time, and so I started following Jen. And Jen, Jen's amazing. Let me just start with that. But Jen teaches about dreams. She teaches about using your dreams to like create what you want out of life. But she does it from like a very, I don't know. Let me actually have Jen explain that, because like, I'm like, I know what I'm saying, but I don't know how to say it in the right way. So Jen, would you mind introducing yourself?
First of all, thank you for having me today. I'm really excited to be here. I want to acknowledge that right now I am on Yokat's land. So my ancestors were Chichimeca. They were the original holders of this sacred knowledge that is known as Nahualism. It's a body of knowledge that Nahualism means the art of I, the art of me, which is the true I, the spirit, the unlimited one. And this body of knowledge has been preserved through our oral tradition for thousands of years. And it's been passed from parent to child, teacher to student. And my ancestors believe that our dreams literally create our waking reality. So they taught different practices, how to, scientifically, I could say I teach people how to reprogram their subconscious while they're sleeping. Spiritually, I could say I help people redream themselves consciously, because we believe that when you're in your mother's womb, you're dreaming of who you would become. So when you talk about worthiness issues, science is starting to show us that programming that we get actually starts in the last 3 months of us being in our mother's womb. Mm-hmm. For us, though, we believe that, while we were in our mother's womb and we were dreaming of who we would become, we could feel, sense, hear everything that was happening outside of that place. And it said that the color that actually came through that we could see, right, when light was cast on the womb, was this reddish, orangish color. And the red dream for us is a very healing dream, to dream of the color red. And this particular practice that I teach, it's called dream planting. It's this, process that we do in our hypnagogic state, which is the state when our brain is in a theta wave state, which is the time that it is the best, or one of the best times, to reprogram our subconscious, because the hypnagogic is associated with the sort of hypnotic state where you can do this self-hypnosis on yourself. And when we were growing up and you were talking about that programming that we received most of it from the time of like the last 3 months up until the age of, they say 7, but now they're actually starting to look at 13. Most of it, because we know that we're still being programmed even as adults, right? Mm-hmm. But 95 to 97% of everything that we do is received from that programming. It's like these seeds that were planted in our subconscious. So I show people how to plant new seeds and basically how to pull out the weeds.
That's incredible. So dreams are things then, because like, I know there's different opinions everywhere, but I've heard, throughout life that it's just your brain, like keeping itself busy while you're sleeping. People say that. And what's interesting is that most of the studies that have been done on dreams have been done from sort of a westernized philosophy and belief system. So if you were to, like, as an example, there was a study done that says 30% of people lucid dream, meaning that you have 30% of the population, meaning that you're aware that you're dreaming while it's happening. That's all a lucid dream is you just know you're dreaming. What I call super lucid dreaming, what we call that, is not only are you aware, but now you begin to command and control the dream to create what you want. So if you were to do that same study on indigenous cultures, the lucid dreaming, the rate would be much higher, because you're actually trained to do those things in childhood. And there's whole tribes and communities that dream together. They sleep together. They dream together. When they wake up, they talk about their dreams and the meanings. And right now I'm actually working on dream therapy. And one of the things that they talk about in the history of dreams, if you really look back, the history of dreams and dream interpreters and dream guides, it goes far back into because we all dream. So all different religions and cultures talk about the dreams. Dreams are mentioned in the Bible. Dreams are mentioned in times of, Egyptian, Babylonian, all these different times talk about it. And if you think about it, when we say, if you dream it, you can achieve it. When we talk about our dream job, our dream wife, our dream husband, our dream career, the power of dreams has been hidden in our everyday language for so long, because we are literally dreaming our lives into reality. So it's not so much this thing that people talk about of, well, they don't really mean anything. They have not only significant meaning, and I don't know if you've ever experienced waking up in the middle of the night and there's an idea that came to you in your sleep, mm-hmm. or you solved some sort of problem in your sleep. Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, they actually worked with their sleep, and they talk about issuing these commands to your subconscious before you go to sleep.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this stuff is my jam.
Right?
It.
Like what? Like, give me an example.
Right?
So, I mean, I know this is something that you do probably specific to whomever that you're working with, but what are some good examples of that?
So good examples would be that state, that theta state, which is also known as the hypnagogic state, is the state right before you go to sleep. That's one of the best times to reprogram your subconscious. The next state is the hypnopompic, which is right when you're waking up. So as an example, if there is, let's say there's affirmations that you say to yourself in your waking state. So for us, we believe that our waking state is, they didn't have like a term for megahertz, but we believe that it's at a power of 13. And our sleep state is at a power of 52, meaning we're creating at this power of 52 while we are dreaming. And so if you really want to be using and stating your affirmations in the best time where like your mind is actually open to it, then do it right as you're drifting to sleep. So if you have affirmations that says like, I am getting healthier and healthier every day. And I like to say things like that because as an example, if let's say you have some sort of sickness and you're telling yourself, I am healthy, sometimes the conscious mind is like, no, you're not. Or you say, I am wealthy. The conscious mind is like, we could barely pay the bills. What are you talking about? Right? It's like rejecting these things. But if you say, I am getting healthier and healthier every day, the conscious mind is like, yeah, we could be doing that. If you're saying, I am getting wealthier and wealthier every day, my business is growing and growing every day, my social media is growing and growing every day, my self-confidence is growing and growing every day, and you're falling asleep and you're repeating these things, whether out loud or in your head, those seeds are going to start to blossom. And also for us, we believe that a lot of things that are sort of preventing you from your greatest destiny or limiting you, we call those the underworld. Anything that's limiting you. It could be ancestral issues. It could be these ideas that you've allowed to be implanted in your subconscious that you don't feel worthy. Like many of my students, they actually, when they would start the program, they told me that they couldn't even start because they were dealing with worthiness issues. They didn't feel worthy of having their dream life. That's such a big thing for people. It's like, who am I? And then another thing they would say is they felt it was too easy because we have been conditioned to believe that we have to work hard, that life has to be hard because we allow society to program these things in our subconscious. And then we just kind of repeat them over and over. And we share the memes that say life is hard and all these things. And so you can say, my life gets easier and easier every day. You can say, I am freed from the trappings of my underworld, or free me from the trappings of my underworld as I sleep. And whether you want to call your subconscious that, right? Subconscious free me from the trappings of my underworld as I sleep, or whether you want to use the word God or Jesus or Buddha or Allah, or whatever resonates with you, you can use that.
I love it so much. So one of the things that Katie, it's really interesting to me, just going back to where you're talking about how there were like groups of people who they would sleep at the same time and then they'd like wake and they'd talk about their dreams. And I just feel like we're just, as humans, we do this so naturally. Like, you know, Katie and I were saying, we talk about our dreams so often. And one of the things that shows up for a lot of people with dreams is recurring dreams or themes in their dreams that show up over and over. So what are your thoughts and what are the teachings that you've been raised with that speak to that?
So it depends. Sometimes we have things recurring in our dreams because, again, the dreams create the reality. That's our belief. So as an example, it could be that you're just like in Groundhog's Day, you're just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And until you break that cycle of dreaming or that recurring dream, you're going to be kind of sort of at this stop and go in your life, right? Or maybe that is, if it's a recurring dream, is it a recurring issue in your life that's showing up? And so sometimes though, in things that recur in our dreams, it could be our dream symbols. And dream symbols we use to say, okay, when I go to sleep, if I see my dream symbol, I'm going to know I'm dreaming. And I'm going to tell myself, I'm dreaming. And now I want to dream with, let's say, rain. Rain is one of the most healing and purifying elements that you can dream with. So when you are conscious that you're dreaming, you can call on the rain to purify you or to purify your relationships with somebody or to purify your issues. Maybe there's emotional issues that you have, or you have anxiety or PTSD or depression, or you're having issues with money. You can command the rain to come down. And you sort of create this plan for yourself and say, okay, when I go to sleep, if I dream of this, I'm going to know I'm dreaming. And I'm going to command to heal my relationship with such and such, or heal my relationship with money, or heal my health, or whatever it may be. Because you know what it is that you're wanting to heal. So those recurring dreams, it really depends on what is showing up in the recurring dreams. So as an example, to dream of fighting means that, like, for us, it said that we are Mother Earth's children. So anytime you're dreaming of fighting, you're actually fighting with Mother Earth, which is your abundance and your prosperity. So for us, we cancel those dreams so that way we don't have, so because it's either saying we're having financial issues or issues of abundance or lack of prosperity, or we're going to. So we cancel them. But to dream of death is a really good thing because it means rebirth and transformation. It means that something is going to transform in your life. You would have to kind of see what it is that has actually died in the dream. But a lot of people, they think they have nightmares when they dream of dying or something like that, when in actuality, it is like an aspect of us that is dying, but to be reborn, to be transformed.
I love that.
So,
That's, go ahead.
This is my part. Yeah, this is the part that I've been dying for in the conversation. Because here's my thing, and this has been going on for like the last 20 years. So I got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
My reoccurring dream is it's houses. And that's not because I'm a real estate agent. Okay. It's not, I swear it's been happening since well before that all came into my life. There are 2 houses, both of which I did grow up in, simultaneously, even in some cases, because one is the house that I lived in and one is my grandparents' house. And I have been having reoccurring dreams. They're not bad. There's nothing bad happens in them, but it's of these houses over and over and over for the last 20 years. Now, it's not every night, but it's quite often.
What room are you in when you're in the house? Do you know?
Definitely in the kitchen in the house that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my grandparents, it's outside. It's a lot of outside.
So when you see the kitchen, what does it look like? Does it look clean or does it look dirty?
It's kind of a mixture of both. And
do you have any health issues?
I did for a while, not currently that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm. So the house in a dream represents your entire being. It's like your physical vessel, because for us, we actually had a human needs sort of development, right? And the very first one was represented by the crocodile, which for us is abundance and Mother Earth. So in order to even get into sort of the human evolution, right, the first thing, the foundation is the yielding a good harvest, because you had to eat. You couldn't think about enlightenment or being creative if you were starving, right? One of the other things is the house, because it represents our physical structure. It represents our being. Like we literally live in our bodies, right? But then we live in our houses, and then we live in like Mother Earth, right? So the house in a dream represents our physical body, and then different rooms in the house represent different things. So the kitchen represents our physical health. The bathroom also represents our physical health. And so if you dream and the kitchen is dirty, it means you either have health issues or you will. If you dream and the kitchen is clean, it means that you have good health or you will have good health. So one of the things that we do in a super lucid state is like, so as an example for you, you could say, okay, tonight, if I dream of my house or being in a house, I'm going to wash the dishes. If I dream and I'm in the kitchen, I'm going to wash the dishes. It's like you're giving yourself a healing, or I'm going to mop the floor, or I'm going to clean the house. If I dream and I'm in the bathroom, I'm going to clean the bathroom, or I'm going to use the bathroom in a dream. It's so funny. People are like, don't use the bathroom in a dream. Actually, it's one of the most healing things you can do, because it's you're literally detoxing just like you would in real life. So it's a very healing thing. So the house represents physical, but then each room in the house represents something different. Like our bedroom is about couples and relationships. So it depends on what you're dreaming, what the state of the bedroom looks like. And, the attic is kind of like our inner heavens. It represents us reaching sort of enlightenment. So anytime in a house, you can walk upstairs to reach that. the basement is the underworlds we talked about. So it represents things repeating itself in your life, limiting beliefs, ancestral issues, you know, all sorts of like different archetypes that have shown up in your life that are not like good, right? That sort of a thing. So you never want to go like down in the dream. And then also your dining room is your friends, your living room is partners in business. So you can kind of see those things when you're dreaming about them. It's really more about the room and specific details for us than it is so much the story. Because a lot of times people will tell me the whole story of their dreams. And I'm like, okay, what color were you wearing? What direction did you go? Where specifically were you? Was it night? Was it daytime? All these things mean something different, more so than the story that you're wrapped in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's so fascinating.
I know.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm going to be writing things down frantically when I wake up in the morning now.
Right. Oh, hey, I told you about the pen that I got off Amazon, right, Katie? No, I haven't. Okay, so I got this pen off of Amazon because I don't want to wake up with, you know, my phone. So I got
Oh, I love it.
That has a light on the end of it. And then I just have a notebook like right there by my bed to be able to write down notes about dreams or things I remember in the middle of the night I need to do the next day, whatever it is. So, oh my goodness. So here's something else that, like, when it comes to dreams, I am so fascinated by. There have been a few different points in my life where I have kind of like premonition-y, creepy kind of dreams. And so two different cases in particular, I ended up dreaming about specific people that I didn't know that were like old-timey people. And then I like found their graves in freaking graveyards later. Oh. And so, yeah, right? So tell me about that, because I don't understand, and it is so creepy and weird to me.
So because we believe the dreams create the reality, we believe that everything first happens in a dream and then it happens in our waking reality. So everybody we've ever met, we've met in our dreams first. Anything that has ever happened in our life, it has happened in our dreams first, whether like symbolically or whether literally sort of meeting that person. And a lot of times when people talk about deja vu, I call it dream-ja vu, because you've dreamed it before. That's where that familiarity comes from. That's where that idea of, I've been here before. What is this? It's because you have dreamed it before. Also in a dream though, you know, you can be accessing past lives. If you believe in past lives, we believe in past lives. So you can be tapping into those sorts of things. You can also be tapping into your ancestors. You can be tapping into karmic ties that you have between people that need to be healed. So when you talked about it initially, to me, it feels there's some sort of karmic tie there. Perhaps even, yeah. Yeah, no, it was weird because, so the first time I had this dream, or one of the dreams, first time I had that dream, I was like 17, didn't, you know, it just ended up like the next day I woke up and I ended up seeing actual symbols that happened in my dream, happen in my real life. And so like that dream always stood out to me. And then years later I moved into a house or an apartment, and this house was straight up haunted. Like it was straight up haunted. And so in my dreams, like there would always be three people. There was a man, and then there was a woman who looked like it, you know, she was his wife, and then like their adult daughter. And I ended up, like, the woman just kept telling me, like, he's really angry. He's not a nice guy, but we're going to protect you from him. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I lived across the street from a graveyard. I went to a graveyard, and there was a father, his wife, and a daughter that all died the same day. Wow.
And, like, they were all the right ages for everything from my dream, the right era, like, everything. And so, like,
wow.
I don't know, that I think that those two dreams in particular were why I like started paying attention to dreams. Like, there's something more here than just the unconscious doing its thing while I'm asleep. So
yes. Yeah. And the unconscious, you know, is this undomesticated energy. For us, that energy we call the nawal. And it's this energy that surrounds our navel while we're awake. And then the energy that surrounds our crown is the tonal, which tonal is short for tonatua, which means sun. So it means, so tonal is like who we are with the sun. But what happens is when we go to sleep, these two energetic bodies, they change places. And so the Nawal never sleeps. The subconscious, the unconscious never sleeps. And so it's creating who we are with the sun.
Wow.
So we learn to command and control it. Otherwise, we're basically, it's, you know.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys the craziest part of that whole story. So the dream that I had when I was 17, in that same graveyard, I found that woman's grave. And like, her grave was not normal. Like, there wasn't grass growing over her casket, even though she'd been buried over like 100 years before. So, and like very just specifically over her area. Nowhere else, everywhere else was fine. And so like, it was like, okay, there's something unusual about this. But like, I love what you're saying though, about like, if you can start to tap into your dreams, if you can start to understand them, you can change your reality, which I love that so much. That's, so I always had a recurring dream that I was in a glass house on an island in a tsunami. And so I knew that, like, you know, I went and I looked it up, and like glass house, you know, a house represents how you are. And then water represents like your emotions and that sort of thing. So I'm interested to hear if it's different in your tradition. But I was like, okay, so I feel like I'm alone. I feel like my whole world's crashing down. I feel like I'm in danger, and I'm like, and it's because of my overwhelming emotions. And
is that
so,
how you felt at the time?
Yeah, just like terror, you know, that sort of thing. And so, but once I understood that and I saw this recurring dream happening over and over, what I ended up doing was like, okay, so clearly I need to work on my emotions. And so I poured a lot of energy into not feeling alone. I put energy into not letting my emotions overpower me and that sort of thing. And dreams gone. Like, I used to have it all the time. Now I haven't had it in years. So anyway, I don't know if I have any questions or anything there, but I just want a good little rant for you guys there. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that was great.
Something that you ladies were talking about a little while ago raises a question for me. Jen, you had mentioned nightmares. And that was a question of mine, like, are there nightmares or is it just perception? I know I have some family members that seem to have reoccurring nightmares, like about bugs and things like that. What's your take on all that?
It's interesting because I have had students that have come to me with night terrors and nightmares that they've experienced their whole life. And, you know, as soon as they started the class, they went away. And these things, again, they had been experiencing for, you know, 20 years, 30 years, recurring every night. One thing is that sometimes what people think is a nightmare for us is like a really beautiful thing. So as an example, people dream of spiders and they get super freaked out. Spiders for us represent like grandmother spider, who is the dream weaver, and she connects all of the dreamers. So if you want to be connected to something or someone outside of yourself, we work with the spider. As an example, you're in real estate. So if you wanted to sell a home, you would say, okay, connect me to the perfect spider, connect me to the perfect buyer for this property, right? Or spider, connect me to the perfect clients that want to list their properties. Clients that are going to be easy to work with, right? Because like we want people that are going to be easy to work with. Yeah.
Amen.
And do what I say. I used to do real estate for many years, loans, real estate. So I understand, you know, sometimes people, they're like in the process of buying, they go buy stuff. It's like, what are you doing? Don't do that. So like those that are going to like listen to what I say. And, you know, as an example, let's say you want to meet your dream partner. It's like, so we don't manipulate anybody's free will. I tell people this, right? because anything can be used to manipulate, but we don't do that because that can create a nightmare for you. As an example, I tell people, if you're really attracted to the rock, you're not going to like say, hey, spider, connect me to the rock. Like, I want to marry him. What is it that you're attracted to about him? Is it his body? Is it his, ambition? Is it his, do you like that you think he's funny? What is it? And say, okay, spider, connect me to the person that has these sort of characteristics, or really just connect me to my dream partner that I can be happy with, right? Because then spirit knows what's going to not make you happy, because the partner cannot make us happy, but spirit knows like the partner that we can be happy with, that's going to have all the things, right? It's like, spirit, all the things, right? It's connect you to that one, right? And so anything outside of ourselves, if we're working on selling a product or a book, spider, connect me to the people that can benefit from reading this book, whatever it is. So, but sometimes people dream of spiders and they run from them. And so what it is that they're running from these opportunities, or they're running from these clients, or they're running from their dream partner without really even realizing it. Same thing for, many other things in a dream. So as an example, there was this person that said, I've been having this recurring nightmare my whole life. This thing has been chasing me my whole life. I don't know what it is. Okay. Well, the next time it happens, stop, turn around, face it, and ask, what are you? And what it was, the response she got was, I'm love. So her whole life, she had been running from love. And as soon as she stopped to face it and hear it, and that happened, then she was able to
receive it.
Love.
That gives me chills everywhere. I think my fingernails have chills.
I know. I have goosebumps. Yeah, head to toe goosebumps right now.
That was crazy good information. And what's really interesting is I'm not the one that has the spider dreams. I'm fine with spiders. I don't love them, but I'm fine with them. I appreciate them. I've tattooed them on my body, like big ones. Yeah. So that's just like really kind of interesting that you say that. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, Beth, what do we want our listeners to do?
We want you guys to help us to reach more people. And that is only accomplished by helping us to share out this podcast, or to share the MOMnation groups with other moms in your life. We have a really, really big mission for why we're doing this. We know that there are so many cases where there are moms that are in either unhealthy relationships, or relationships they're just not happy in, or there are moms who lose their partners tragically and unexpectedly. And suddenly so many moms have to step into being a single mom. They have to step into taking care of themselves. And it's our dream and it's our goal to be able to create a hand up for those moms in particular by creating MOMunes, homes for moms in every major country, that's next. Every major city across the United States, in the country, and have a home where moms can go in for a few months, where they're going to be able to they're going to go get the support that they need for a period of time where they don't have to worry about paying rent. They don't have to worry about everything, and they can work collaboratively with the other moms in that space and help each other to get back on their feet as they're getting ready to move forward with their lives. So we need you guys to go to the podcasting platform of your choice. We need you to rate, review, subscribe, and download these episodes, because they don't count it unless you download it. And help us to be able to reach more moms that way. The more amazing reviews that we can get, the more that iTunes and other platforms boost us up, so that other people will be able to reach us and hear from us and get the support that we want to provide. So is that everything, Katie?
Yeah, it's like our spider. This is like our spider, right?
Right. I know, like I've been planning my next tattoo, and now I'm like, now I need to like incorporate a little spider into it. How am I going to do that?
I really love that. that's going to stick with me forever, Jen. A lot of this conversation. Well, I really appreciate your time today. It was wonderful to get to know you.
Thank you. It was really wonderful to get to know you as well. And really quick before we go, I do want to say one thing that I tell people is that, like, when you dream with certain things, so let's take the spider, for example, and you're asking to be connected to something, you should also embody the spirit of the spider and connect, right? Others. So just like you were talking about, Beth, sharing and things like that, if you want people to share your thing, so for those that are listening, right, then you should share the podcast and you should share the groups and those things, because you're embodying the spirit of the spider. You're becoming the connector, right? Just like when you want abundance and prosperity, you embody the spirit of that thing and you bring like the abundance and the prosperity to others. And so I do think that that is something that is really important. That's something that I like to share with other people, always asking people, you know, how is it that I can help you? How is it that I can support you, right? Because we're often looking for that from others. So we also become what it is that we're seeking.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
I love that advice. Yes, thank you. And if people want to follow you, connect with you, if they've got questions for you, if they may want to consult with you, what's the best way to connect with you?
I'm on Facebook, Jen The Rainmaker. It's 1N, Jen The Rainmaker. I'm on Instagram as Jen The Rainmaker, LinkedIn, Jen The Rainmaker, and also information about the school is Dream U, YOU, because there's no separation between you and the dream, university.com. So they can find out information about the school there.
I love it.
Amazing. Well, do we have an episode planned next week yet, Katie?
Probably not.
Yeah, we're going to go unscripted, guys.
How we roll.
Yeah, we're going to draw out of a hat, or we're going to come up with something next Tuesday morning. So I'll look forward to that conversation, Katie.
As do I. And thank you again, Jen.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.